Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into Lagos, Nigeria this time. A city that's, well, exploding with growth and ambition.
Yeah.
We've got some awesome YouTube videos lined up
Oh, cool.
to really give us a feel for this transformation,
Yeah.
from like futuristic cityscapes to a real estate market that's just booming.
Sounds fascinating.
So if you're ready to explore this megacity in Africa that's just so dynamic, let's go.
And hey, if you're loving this deep dive as much as I am, hit that like button for Deep Dive Africa podcast. You know we appreciate it.
Absolutely. What's so captivating about Lagos is it's not just, changing its buildings and streets. It's like redefining its whole place on the world stage.
Yeah.
These projects could completely reshape the city, like economically and socially,
Right.
and maybe even impact the whole continent. Who knows?
You're totally right. Like Emmanuel Bernard's video, it highlights 10 massive projects, just huge. They really showcase this vision, this ambitious vision for Lagos. So there's a Lagos Rail Mass Transit aiming to finally tackle the city's crazy traffic. Oh, yeah.
And you've got Eco Atlantic City. I mean, this thing is literally being built up from the ocean. It's mind-blowing.
Wow.
And then there's the Lekki Free Trade Zone, which is attracting tons of foreign investment.
I see.
Oh, and we can't forget about the Lagos Smart City project. They're using all this cutting-edge technology to improve, well, everything. Traffic flow, public safety, you name it. It's like watching a futuristic city being born right before our eyes.
Absolutely. I think these projects are a sign of something bigger. Lagos is putting itself out there as like a hub for innovation and economic growth in Africa. Like the Lekki Free Trade Zone, it's not just about getting businesses in, it's about creating a whole new era of global trade and collaboration on the continent.
I love that. It's not just about Lagos, it's about
Yeah.
Africa. Right. But okay, let's zoom in on one project for a second. The Lagos Light Rail project.
Okay.
Picture this. Sleek, modern trams just gliding through this bustling city. It's such a contrast to, the crazy transportation scene they have now.
Yeah.
How do you think this project could change daily life for Lagosians? Think about it. Commuting without those endless traffic jams, it could be a total game changer for everyone living there.
That's the dream, isn't it? But the question is, can they really build these big infrastructure projects fast enough to keep up with how quickly the population's growing?
That's a good point.
I mean, Lagos is a magnet. It draws people looking for opportunity, and that puts huge pressure on everything, resources, infrastructure, you name it.
Yeah. Speaking of opportunities, let's talk about real estate in Lagos. It's on fire right now. Augustin Onwumir's video has some really good advice if you're thinking about investing. He says knowledge is key. Understanding land titles, survey plans, all the legal stuff that comes with property ownership in Lagos.
Makes sense.
It's crucial for navigating this complex market, that's for sure.
For sure. This real estate boom is happening because of a few things coming together at once. Like a population that's just exploding, rapid urbanization, and a middle class that's getting bigger and bigger. All this creates this huge demand for housing, which of course drives prices up, and that makes it really attractive for investors who know what they're doing.
Exactly. Now, Onwumir, he shares this unique strategy for securing land on credit. It involves negotiating directly with landowners, building that trust, and offering, above market value. It's a win-win, in theory. It's definitely a bold approach, though. Do you think a strategy like that could work in other markets, considering, the risks and the rewards involved?
It's definitely high risk, high reward. It all hinges on trust and really understanding how the market works. Not for the faint of heart, but if you're willing to take that calculated risk, could definitely pay off big time.
Speaking of risks and rewards, have you considered investing in real estate? Looking for your dream home? At Lelo Homes and Properties, we offer top-quality homes in Lagos and across Nigeria. Contact Chukwuma or Giakor on Facebook and Instagram at Lelo Homes and Properties Ltd. Follow us on Instagram at Lelo Homes and Properties for updates. Your perfect home is just a message away. Now let's shift gears a bit and dive into the world of luxury living in Lagos. Stephen Ndukwu's videos take us inside some of these exclusive neighborhoods.
Oh, wow.
We're talking opulent mansions, waterfront views that will take your breath away, and amenities that are just off the charts.
Sounds amazing.
It's a whole other level of luxury. We're talking private cinemas, infinity pools, even helipads.
Wow.
These enclaves offer a glimpse into a lifestyle that's just, extraordinary. But it also kind of makes you think about the contrast.
Yeah, the contrast.
Between this extravagant lifestyle and the reality of most Lagosians. It raises questions about wealth inequality and how society is structured.
Right. Can a city truly thrive when there's such a huge gap between the haves and the have-nots?
That's a really good question. And Ndukwu, He takes us to places like Nikon Town, which is known for its strict building codes and super luxurious villas. And then there's Pinnock Beach. It's like a magnet for this new wave of millionaires.
Interesting.
These neighborhoods, they feel worlds apart from like the hustle and bustle of everyday Lagos.
It's fascinating how these new money enclaves are popping up alongside, the more established wealthy areas like Banana Island.
Right.
It shows how things are changing economically. Tech entrepreneurs, a new generation of business leaders, they're making their mark.
Exactly. And you won't believe this. Tuku actually shows us Don Jazzy's home in Pinnock Beach.
Oh.
This multi-million Naira mansion. It just shows how these neighborhoods are a huge draw for celebrities. And speaking of huge draws, don't forget to like Deep Dive Africa podcast. Your support helps us keep bringing you amazing content. Now, before you think Lagos is all about mega mansions and private islands, Nduku also explores what he calls affordable luxury villas.
Affordable luxury, huh?
Yeah. Of course, affordable is, relative. Even these properties are out of reach for many Lagosians.
This affordable luxury thing, it's not just Lagos, it's a global trend. There's a growing group of people who want that lifestyle, but they can't quite reach the very top.
Exactly. It's aspirational. Right? He takes us to Aja, which is an up-and-coming neighborhood that's getting a lot of attention. We see a 3-story apartment building, modern amenities, the whole 9 yards, price tag, 38 million Naira.
Okay.
Which is a lot, obviously. Yeah. But in this market, which is appreciating so fast, it's considered a good deal. He points out that a unit in that same building, it sold for 28 million Naira off-plan.
Off-plan?
Yeah, before it was even built. Now it's worth 38 million.
Wow, that's a huge jump.
That's the kind of investment potential we're talking about here.
So what's driving that appreciation?
Well, that's a combination of things. Infrastructure development, the population growth, and just increasing demand. As Lagos keeps expanding these emerging neighborhoods, they're likely to see prices skyrocket in the coming years.
It's like the Wild West of real estate.
Kind of. Now, let me introduce you to Eddie. He is a real estate developer, and he's got this passion for building high-quality, affordable housing.
Okay, so not just the luxury stuff.
Right. He wants to create thriving communities. Nduku's video showcases a bunch of his different projects. 4-bedroom, semi-detached homes in Ologolo, luxury terraces with all the smart home features you can imagine. He's even building his first commercial property with shops and office spaces.
So he's got a diverse portfolio.
He does. He's a real visionary trying to make a difference.
It sounds like it. Developers like him are really important for shaping the city. They bridge the gap between those luxury developments and something that's more attainable. It helps create a city that's more inclusive and fair for everyone.
Totally agree. But it's not all smooth sailing. No. Eddie, he talks about the challenges he faces, like finding skilled workers, for one, and dealing with the lack of standardized training in Nigeria.
Right, so even with all this growth, there's still these underlying issues that need to be addressed.
Absolutely. It highlights that even amidst this rapid development, there are systemic issues that need attention.
This skills gap isn't unique to Nigeria. It's something a lot of rapidly developing economies struggle with.
It's true.
It shows how important it is to invest in education and vocational training. You need to build a workforce that can keep up with a growing economy.
Exactly. And speaking of keeping up, let me remind our listeners about Lalo Homes and Properties. Looking for your dream home. At Lalo Homes and Properties, we offer top-quality homes in Lagos and across Nigeria. Contact Chukwuma or Jack Core on Facebook and Instagram at Lalo Homes and Properties Ltd. Follow us on Instagram at Lalo Homes and Properties for updates. Your perfect home is just a message away.
A perfect segue. Now, this skills gap is a real issue, but let's shift gears again and talk about a project that really embodies Lagos's ambition. Eco Atlantic City. This isn't just a development, it's a whole new city being built on reclaimed land.
Like a statement.
Exactly, a bold statement about Lagos's future. And before we jump into this incredible project, just a friendly reminder to all our awesome viewers out there, don't forget to like Deep Dive Africa podcast. Your support means the world to us.
We appreciate you. Okay, Eco Atlantic. It's a prime example of urban innovation, right?
Absolutely. Waterfront development taken to a whole new level. Instead of running from rising sea levels, they're tackling it head on.
Yeah.
The city's protected by this massive seawall.
I saw that.
Made with these interlocking concrete blocks, like a giant Lego wall built to withstand the full force of the ocean.
It's amazing.
It's crucial because, Lagos, like a lot of coastal cities, is very vulnerable to climate change.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's incredible how they're building for the future, literally. Nduku's video gives us this picture of this city within a city, 10 districts, a mix of commercial and residential spaces, and all this advanced engineering to fight that coastal erosion.
And what's really interesting is how they're trying to attract all sorts of people and businesses.
Right.
It's not just about luxury living. They've got plans for affordable housing, business districts, even a financial hub.
Wow.
This multifaceted approach is what's needed to create a city that's vibrant and sustainable.
Absolutely. And speaking of luxury, here's a mind-blowing fact. The most expensive plot of land in Eco-Atlantic. It sold for a whopping $3 million for just 2,000 square meters. That tells you everything you need to know about how exclusive and ambitious this project is.
That's a serious price tag. It shows how they want to attract global investors and set a new standard for luxury living in Africa. But it also brings up the question of affordability. Will this new city be for everyone, or will it mainly benefit the wealthy?
Yeah, that's a crucial question. We need to think about how these massive developments impact the everyday lives of Lagosians. Do they create opportunities for everyone, or do they mostly benefit a select few? It really makes you think, how all these big developments, the influx of wealth and the aspirations of this growing middle class are all kind of weaving together this dynamic and sometimes volatile social fabric. Like you said, the disparities are, well, they're impossible to ignore.
Exactly. It's like we're watching a tale of two cities unfold in Lagos. On one hand, you have these incredible displays of wealth and progress, symbolized by these ambitious projects we've been talking about. But then on the other hand, you have these deeply rooted challenges. Poverty, inadequate infrastructure, social inequality, they haven't gone away.
Yeah. It's almost like walking through a portal between two different worlds. You could be strolling past these opulent mansions with private pools and security guards, and then just a few blocks away, you find families crammed into makeshift shelters, struggling to get by. It's that contrast that's the reality of Lagos today.
And that tension, that's what makes Lagos so fascinating to study. It represents the challenges and opportunities so many rapidly developing cities around the world are facing. How do you balance economic growth with social equity? How do you make sure that the benefits of development reach everyone, not just a select few?
It's a tough question, and there's no easy answer. From all the videos we've explored today, is there anything that really stood out to you? A specific project or an insight that resonated with you?
What struck me was the resilience and the adaptability that kept coming up. Whether it was developers coming up with creative solutions to navigate complex regulations or residents adapting to the ever-changing urban landscape. There's this resourcefulness that seems to permeate Lagos. It's a city that's constantly evolving, finding ways to overcome obstacles and move forward.
That's a great observation. It's easy to get caught up in the scale of these mega projects, but it's the human stories, the individual struggles and triumphs that really bring this transformation to life.
I agree. And those stories, they often get lost in the headlines. We need to remember that behind every statistic, every billion-dollar development, there are real people whose lives are being shaped by all of this. Their stories are often the most insightful.
Speaking of insightful stories, don't forget to like Deep Dive Africa podcast. Your support means the world to us, and it helps us bring these important stories to a wider audience.
Absolutely. Supporting content creators who are diving deep into these complex issues is so important. It helps us all have more informed discussions and better understanding.
Well said. Before we wrap up our deep dive into Lagos, I have one last question for you. Can this megacity, with all its ambition and all its contradictions, truly become a model for sustainable and inclusive urban growth in Africa?
That's the big question, isn't it? I don't think there's an easy answer. What we can do is stay engaged, keep asking the tough questions, and learn from what cities like Lagos are doing as they navigate this uncharted territory.
Well said. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the heart of Lagos. It's been a real eye-opener. To all our listeners, thank you for diving deep with us. Be sure to check out the links in the show notes to learn more about the projects and the people we talked about today.
It was my pleasure. To all our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and never stop diving deep into the complexities of the world around us.
And one last thing before we go. If you're inspired by the incredible growth and opportunity in Lagos and dream of finding your own place in this dynamic city, we've got a resource for you, looking for your dream home. At Lelo Homes and Properties, we offer top-quality homes in Lagos and across Nigeria. Contact Chukwuma or Giacor on Facebook and Instagram at Lelo Homes and Properties Ltd. Follow us on Instagram at Lelo Homes and Properties for updates. Your perfect home is just a message away. Until next time, stay curious.